join a group of American executives on their very fancy yacht for a series of meetings. These would take place not in the tranquil waters of the harbour, but on a short cruise down the coast, the fabled Côte d'Azur. It sounded like a very welcome relief from the chatter and racket amongst the trade stands in Le Palais. The size of a 2-story house, the yacht was white, and the sun deck at the stern high above the water was very attractively shaded by bright striped awnings. We made our stately way out of Cannes harbour, and over coffee, as I talked with my American hosts, the mood amongst us was also bright, having left behind the hurly-burly for a few hours. We were bound for the Lérins Islands, a small, low, wooded archipelago only a few miles out to sea off Cannes. Having found a brochure in the Carlton Hotel the night before, I knew that one of the islands was the Île Sainte-Marguerite. It was the location of a citadel where the man in the iron mask had been imprisoned at the end of the 17th century. Made world-famous in Alexandre Dumas's D'Artagnan sagas, there was, by coincidence, a film about this strange story made that year, 1998, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeremy Irons, and Gérard Depardieu. When I asked if we were to visit the prison of the man rumoured to be the brother of Louis XIV, I was a little disappointed to hear that we would not. Instead, the giant white yacht glided around the Île Sainte-Marguerite and set a course for the smaller island of Saint-Honorat. The island turned out to be a magical place, quiet, unhurried, peaceful. It is dominated by Lérins Abbey, which maintains its own vineyards. This imposing monastery was founded by Saint Honoratus around 410. Having tasted some pleasant white wine and been given a presentation pack of soap, liqueur, and honey, we ate a simple lunch before dispersing to have a look around this beautiful little island. Finding myself alone and a little relieved not to have to make conversation with people I did not know well, I walked past the vineyards and through a green tunnel lined with tall trees to the coast of the Île Saint-Honorat. Behind me were the jagged littoral of the Riviera, the bustle of Cannes, and the dense clusters of the bright and white buildings of other ports and towns. In front of me stretched the unbroken horizon of the Mediterranean. I walked west along a brick-red path through pine trees, and shaded by them was a bench. I sat for some time and felt my shoulders loosen, my back relax. It was as though I was exhaling a long breath. This corner of the little island seemed to me to be different, to have a palpable genius loci, to be a place of settled peace. As I gazed out over the rocky foreshore, my mind seemed to empty, surrendering itself only to what I could see or sense. I stopped thinking, and, if the phrase had been current then, I found myself in the moment, and only in the moment. After a time, I seemed to wake from my reverie and began to wonder if my hosts might have been waiting for me, checking their watches, anxious to be back in Cannes for the next round of meetings. When we docked and tied up at the jetty below the Palais des Festivals in the late afternoon, we all shook hands and made our way back into the world of business. Less than a year later, I decided that I had had enough of corporate life and resigned from a highly paid, prestigious job to return home to the Scottish borders to work alone as a writer and producer. But I never forgot that time amongst the pines on the Île Saint-Honorat, and more than once I have wondered if its magic worked on me then. Many years later, my publisher, Hugh Andrew, asked me if I would consider writing a book about the Irish monks who sailed to the Hebrides in the 6th, 7th, and 8th centuries to found communities on the islands and the Atlantic coast. The most famous is, of course, Columba, but my preliminary reading told me that he was by no means the only missionary to sail from Ireland. Hugh was right. This was a rich and too little told story, and work began. Like these pious mariners, I decided that, as far as was feasible, I would embark on a journey, a series of voyages of discovery that would take me to the remote islands, to the places of solitude they so eagerly sought. Instead of a sea-going curragh, I would plan my summer explorations with the help of the timetables of Caledonian McBrain ferries, or hire local sailors to take me where I needed to go. In the spring, I began to read more widely and deeply. Very soon, I found myself again bringing to mind those few hours spent on the Île Saint-Honoré.